Hello, and welcome to the Wanderers of the Triverse, an intricate collection of tales from the worlds of Ione, Operos, and
Error. File not found.
all music in this podcast was obtained under license from Feslianstudios.com. Recording provided by Craigbot at craig.chat. Dicebot for GM and player use provided by Dice Maiden. One of the tools utilized by the GMs and players in the Triverse is the D&D 5e companion app, available on the Apple and Google Play stores. Character art icons were provided by Baydoos on PicCrew. Maps and other art were provided by Hoskins Pineapple on Instagram. Content advisories: depictions of graphic violence, heavy language, some adult sexual themes and behavior, and alcohol and drug use.
All right, everyone. We're going to have a bit of a session 0 to start off before we leap into storyline. Of course, if we have any triggers that we normally don't cover, make sure that we... Do we actually have the trigger spot? I'm actually going to write one down.
I have it in Operos. Posted into session chat what I have.
Okay. I threw them into the trigger list since I have an actual channel up for it now, so that way they won't get lost. Especially in session chat. Session chat will get lost by the end of the night with gifts. If there's anything you want on the list and you don't feel like throwing it in yourself for any reason, tell me, and I will put it in, because as you can see, I'm the first list. I can edit that. I will put it in that list without anyone needing to know. As I will be expanding on that list myself.
Yeah, let me know when you expand it so I can update it in Operos as well. So.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure there are other name triggers and other things, so. As always, we will be doing we're also updating, but as always, and moving forward, we're going to do the green, yellow, and red system. That if you are having a problem with something, but it's not like hitting a hard line yet, or like it's approaching something, you just kind of like DM me yellow. You don't have to say it out loud. If something happens that is like, oh wait, that's I didn't know that would trigger me, but it did, or that's a hard line on something we talked about, or anything, just throw me a red. And if I ask for like a checkup in the middle of a scene or anything, all that means is everyone needs to DM me and give me, green, yellow, red. Hopefully, whenever most of the time when I ask for any sort of a checkup, we'll be getting greens, because I'm hoping I'm never hitting anyone's sensitive spots, but you can never be too safe. So we're implementing that moving forward from now on. We're not going to do Dice Maiden, but I'm going to do Dice Maiden. All my roles will be out in the open.
Are you gonna stick with the Dice Maiden for PvP, or?
Oh yes.
Okay.
100%. If anyone needs to PvP for any reason, we have to use Dice Maiden. 100%. I don't foresee a lot of PvP, but if it does happen, like if someone wants to, try to maybe sleep a friend to or knock him out to save them, that kind of stuff, whatever. Or maybe there's just a contest where two of you end up brawling. There's no death blow, but it's just to keep it honest, like the fighting arena, or rune battle for that matter, because that is a sport. Then that will definitely be Dice Maiden still. It just keeps things fair. Leaves all the bad feelings at the door, because when you PvP with people on the table and you can't see their dice, you can get you can hold a grudge. It could feel unfair because maybe you were honest and you feel like they weren't. Now maybe they just rolled better, but there's no arguments if it's on Dice Maiden. And so there shouldn't be any bad feelings unless you're a jerk in the fight, like killing a person repeatedly and rezzing them.
Demo.
Hey, I said that was okay. That was fun.
I know you said it was okay, but if you were to do that in like a normal situation with a party member, especially one that was gonna stay with the party afterwards, that would normally be a dick move. That was a completely different scenario. We were a bunch of gods fighting. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a little different when you can resurrect people casually.
It was a good fight. It was a great fight, even.
Yeah. It was a good fight. But like I said, it's a little different when you can casually resurrect people. The words "to the death" don't really matter when you can be like, all right, and you're back up. Oh, you're still running in your mouth? All right, you back down. And you back up. You done yet? Like, it's totally different than in like low stakes or high stakes, low level scenarios. That's brutality. That's villainous brutality is what that is. So a bad guy might do that to prove his terrible point, but not in PvP. So a little housekeeping. I know that some of you have run through the Nocturnia module before. This will not be the same. This is a similar world, and many people will be close to the same, but the history of the world has been changed. Professor, you joined us late for the last campaign, and
Yes.
Lilith, you've really only heard my updates throughout the evenings because you weren't actually doing it. Okay. No, yeah. Photos of double nat 1s and double nat 20s is fine. It is rare that happens anyways. And
I just want
Who
it for
doesn't-
my own amusement, and if I can put like screenshots for like the videos and stuff.
I was gonna say, who doesn't screenshot their amazing successes?
Yeah.
I've screenshotted a couple of nat 20s, and when I realized later on that like they all look the same, right? It's just a picture of the same dice on 20. But I still take pictures because I like the moment.
They don't feel the same though.
No, well, it depends on the moment that you get them. Anyways. The hell was I saying? Oh, yeah, so the lore is changed. The professor, for those who know him intimately, they could drop the, has been with Nocturnia for the last 5 years. And while Fades' parents still did perish to the hands of the Dawn Wolves, once peace was established in the last war, their murderers were imprisoned, and once the truth had been had come out. Before that, however, in one of what we consider the changes in the module, Fady did not make their way to Nocturnia in their youth, but instead was raised upon the mountainside with Justa, leader of the Wild Hunt, and a rather gruff werewolf, and longtime friend of her father's. Certain people will not be in the world, certain people will be. Certain stories will be changed. So this module will not be the same as the original, but we are going to try to record it from the start. Is there any points that anyone wants to bring up, or questions that anyone has before we jump into the lore and such?
I'm just happy to be here for the first session.
We're happy to have you.
I will say, because we're all horrible about doing this, when we actually get started, describe our characters.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. It was one of the first things that
Yeah.
the introduction was.
Because we're horrible at that.
Everyone's "How does the morning find you?" is going to start with a description of your character. Lilica, I know you hate these. I'm sorry, but you have a very good image of what. I know, but you have a very good image of what she looks like, and this will be the only time you have to do it, except for Saturday.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Lil.
Although that might not be this Saturday. So, is there any questions or anything they want to bring up about how we're going to run the game, that kind of stuff?
So far, I'm good.
Okay. Everyone has their character sheets or up to date. Well, if yours isn't up to date, we have a problem. Not only did we just finish it, but I did it myself. For brevity's sake, for the recording, Lilica rolled 2 sets of 4d6, drop lowest, reroll 1s. So you keep 3. I have never seen stats roll this high, and I have been playing for over 20 years, closing in on 30. Absolute ludicrous stats, my dear. I am jealous. So,
But it was rolled. Like,
it was rolled with Dice Maiden in open chat. There's no
there was no
DM
personal
favoritism there.
Dice.
I mean, for those stats, that's why you got the reaction of the eyes.
Yeah, I thought the eyes was originally Micah. Then I look in and I'm like, oh, no, I agree because when it happened, I literally was like, dear, what is that? I've literally been playing for almost 30 years, and I have never rolled stats like that.
Yeah, I think Sam saw him first. I saw him this morning, and I choked on my drink. I was like,
Yeah, and to have it in open chat. I mean, the first set was good. There wasn't a single negative. When I saw that, I was like, okay, we'll probably end up with that because I'm expecting some sort of low number in the next one. But I'm like, don't worry, dear. Like, you're low level, and we got lots of room to work with this. This is going to give you good stats, no negatives. And then that one drops. I'm like, oh, yeah, never mind.
Oh, that is
The dice guy. The dice god smiled. You know what it is, though, is Lilka has notoriously bad luck with dice. With high enough modifiers, it won't matter.
Yep.
Gonna make up for it, maybe.
All right. We're gonna step a bit ahead. So, when we start off, everyone is within the country of Nocturnia, in the capital city, which is simply known as the capital. When people speak of going to Nocturnia, it's you're going to the capital because it's the walled, massive, almost city-state that is the main place to go outside of the farmlands. Nocturnia was carved into a mountainside, and that mountain backs directly onto the sea. A large portion of the mountain has been removed to make a harbor. And there are multiple tunnels through the mountain that go into the actual city from the harbor. On the mountain's other side, there is a large castle that is carved directly into the stone, and it doesn't look like any chisel or tool with this castle in the stone. It's certainly magically made. No tool or hard-working hand has touched the craftsmanship of this castle. Every angle is a little too perfect. There's a lot of symmetry in the castle, and it's not natural. Just put it that way. It doesn't look natural, just even upon gazing on it. And the stone itself is a dark, not like a solid black, but like a really dark gray, like darker than the rest of the mountain, so that were you to be looking at what was left of the mountain between the harbor and the castle, there's a clear difference between the stone of the mountain and the dark stone of the castle. The dark stone extends around the base of the mountain, essentially making a large arch that follows the initial curves of the mountain. And inside the arch is the entire capital. Buildings, shops, residents. They're all within this, almost like a supremely large siege-styled fortress where there was like a whole town inside the walls, but at a much grander scale. Nocturnia is home to not only refugees of endless years of creatures of darkness being hunted, but also reformed evil creatures that want peace, creatures that can find no other place to exist because they don't quote-unquote fit in anywhere. It is, we often say it was the retirement home for BBEGs when they're done with their evil ways and they've decided to turn over a new leaf, or simply to wish to exist somewhere where they no longer can be hunted down. And for about 70,000 years, those walls around the city, the capital, have held at bay a ruthless onslaught and crusade by the joint countries of Velantria and Everdon to try to purge the dark from the countryside. It has led to just absolutely blood-soaked war. And stuck in somewhat the middle of it all was the mountain range that separated Everdon and Nocturnia. There are giants on that who just kind of stay neutral as long as everyone stays the hell off the mountain. The endless supply of mortals that Velantria and Everdon has been able to throw out Nocturnia has more or less halted, or had halted, their growth and led to buildings going up and down into what was created as eventually an Undercity. It's not uncommon for Lich, undead, vampires, werewolves, beholders, all sorts of creatures to be living in Nocturnia completely in peace, where they interact with everyone. There's no prejudice or evil races in Nocturnia. There's just people trying to survive and trying to live their life. The only reason that they've been able to do so is that there's a very large curve in the power scaling of the average paladin or knight or cleric trying to siege the walls of Nocturnia and the creatures that lay inside. When there are ancient black dragons and beholders and master vampires and mummies and liches and waves of undead and lycanthropes and shadows all behind these walls, most of Nocturnians can take on waves, if not hordes, of heroes without falling. In fact, the odd selection of BBEGs who have retired in Nocturnia leads to a bit of a cream of the crop of deadly creatures from the dark, because they're the ones who survived every other adventuring group who had ever tried and eventually chose to retire. However, 10 years ago, in the middle of a war, when Valantria and Everdon had all but pushed Nocturnia back to their walls, further back than they had ever pushed, a hero of Nocturnia appeared, the Lunar Witch Will Nolak. And he avatared for the king, releasing a massive wave of darkness that didn't sear the land, and it didn't kill anyone. It created a mass paralysis field, which gave time for some talking. And it was through those discussions that Pelor, the leader of Valantria, and Bahamut, the leader of Everdon, more so Bahamut than Pelor, began a conversation amongst their frozen mortals. Pelor and Bahamut spoke with Will and the king at the same time, and a very shaky peace was brought into play, mostly due to the behest of Bahamut, who just was tired of shedding blood. Upon seeing what Will had done, creating this large bubble of night that had frozen all the mortals, Bar Tempesthold, king of the giants, descended from the mountain. He had been watching, as he always did during these wars, and was, the best way to put this, was moved due to the idea of them finally listening to one another, that there could be peace, and had agreed to uphold the shaky treaty with as his own, essentially both entering into the treaty with everyone, but also being its enforcer, where the giants, if you broke the treaty, you now have to deal with the giants, not just the people you offended. And with the the mutual ensured destruction of any kingdom who broke the treaty, the four kingdoms entered 10 years of peace. The walls of Nocturnia have not had to be sealed in 10 years. The farming towns and outposts throughout the farmlands and the swamps have grown into either larger towns or just into towns, or more slowly are beginning to develop because they're not being razed to the ground anymore. Trade routes have started to open up between the countries, as each finds that they've always been smuggling to one another anyways. Now they could make legitimate business out of it. And a new kingdom has been, I don't want to say found, forged is the better concept. A nomadic group of barbarians, fighters, and primal casters have set up to the southeast of the Black Forest and have been establishing their own territories, holding off anyone that tries to enter quite fiercely, although avoiding murder or even killing at all when they could. This kingdom is the kingdom of Alton, and is ruled by a rather ruthless, as apparently mortal, King Curian Balak. And Alten is spelled Alten. It is in the notable location section, as is the king's name. So for a breakdown of politics of the current world, Belantria, Everdon, and Nocturnia, as well as the giants of the Undurg, the Undurg Mountains, are in a peace treaty, which has made so that the nomadic peoples of Alten kind of view everyone as an outsider and an enemy. Drosha has more or less had no contact with the other side of the world. Drosha is the very advanced magical kingdom ruled by an elected council, and they are on the continent of Grestia. And so they're Switzerland or Sweden, like they're completely neutral. And the other wild card in the kingdoms, if you will, is the islands, or the Monsteros Island, or Isles. The Monsteros Isles. There we go. A collection of islands that are constantly shifting in the Crimson Seas, so they cannot be placed in any one spot. And they're ruled by the warlord Teresh, champion of Tiamat. As in this particular timeline, Teresh went back with Tiamat when she left. Nocturnia itself has advanced its, I guess, comforts would be a good way to put it. Things like teleportation circles are almost as available as bus stops now, not just in main areas. The streets and roads are more, they're paved. The streets are policed. I mean, the streets are still pretty heavily policed by the Shades, as crime has gone up dramatically with all the trade and influx of people visiting Nocturnia, as Belantrians, Everdon, and really anyone who wants to now could attempt to enter Nocturnia and do business, visit, make friends, just overall normal trade. With the Thieves Guild in Nocturnia has been more active than ever. They've been watching many birds, as is to be said. As we all know that Thieves' Cant in the Triverse is like bird watching. Besides that, personally for all three of you, Shara, you are a visiting, well, I wouldn't say visiting, you're currently posted to Nocturnia. You are a captain in your rank, and you are actually from Drosha, natively, quote unquote, but it's like you're a foreign exchange officer. We had them all the time in our army. I remember having to salute a bunch of officers that were from other countries, had very different uniforms. However, yeah, like essentially you're an officer that works with, like as a Nocturnian officer, but you're from a foreign, you're a bit of a diplomat, put it that way. Heavily trained, probably more trained than most captains have to be, which explains your ridiculous stats. Professor, you of course have been in Nocturnia for just under 5 years and are just about, you're what, 6 months away from completing your contract, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
So you've been in Nocturnia for 4.5 years. Have also achieved the rank of captain, and I believe you're currently undecided of whether or not you're going to open up your own business or continue in the military.
That is correct.
Okay. And Fady, newer to the squad, about 2 years in, so you've been around for almost half the time the professor has. You've also achieved your rank of captain. You have several tie-ins to achieve the higher rank, but like with your grandfather and such. However, none of that was required because the aptitude that Justa had given you for combat and survival and the general gruffness that is required to live on the side of a mountain had prepared you for what really were almost minuscule tasks in Nocturnia comparatively, and as such, you achieved the rank of captain quite quickly, leaving us with 3 captains working for Nocturnia currently. And we're going to start off with the professor. You have a routine that you have to do. You have to be at work in about an hour or so, but how does the morning find you, Professor?
Well, I'm Sam. I play the professor. He is a tiefling, a blue tiefling, who wears gold-rimmed glasses, very round glasses, and tends to generally have a magical smell going over him, so he doesn't smell like sulfur and brimstone. And the smell that he usually smells like is that of oven-baked brown sugar. And that he usually is found wearing a dress shirt and vest. And the morning finds him with him doing the usual. As he gets out of bed and gets dressed, he boils water and puts it in his trusty teapot and makes himself at least a cup of tea, and then he'll probably make a second one for the trip to his station. And while he's drinking his first cup, he is opened up his notebook and going over possibly some notes that he wanted to just perceive over today and from the previous days, just to make sure that things are still relatively in order.
Okay. Fantastic. And with that, Fady, how does the morning find you?
Probably earlier than most. I feel like Fady's in the habit of waking up early, being raised by Justa. So Fady is a shorter than average, light blue furbolg with very angled facial tattoos and one on their neck, along with a tattoo, the Tempest Hold family crest, I guess, on their neck.
Yeah, it's kind of a crest.
Yeah, kind of like a crest, or like the family rune, or so. It looks like Norse runes because giants. But yeah. So they probably wake up early, get tea or coffee started. Very careful not to get any of the nightshade flowers near the tea that's on their arm, because that's a little bit more dangerous than the morning glories that had existed at one point. So they get that started for Justa and themselves, and probably go take care of the pack and stuff like that. Do familiars need to eat? I've never asked that before, and I feel like I should, because, yeah.
No, so technically, no. But I think everyone kind of flavors them as doing it anyways, because we all treat them like animals. Technically speaking, they are a spirit that has taken the shape of an animal.
Okay. So, Fady definitely gets there. So, if you would allow this, DM, since Fady has access to the Find Familiar spell, I feel like they would have cast it a while ago, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I let everyone with Find Familiar start with their familiars. It would be silly to think that was the first time you've ever done it.
Okay. Yeah, so she's her familiar is a black falcon named Doosan. And so like she'll feed him while she goes to get her mount ready, Tagi. And feed him too.
Are you taking the mount to Nocturnia this morning, or are you using the teleportation service?
Can my mount go through the teleportation circle?
So no, the circle itself would be a little too small for the large creature.
That's fine. I mean, I'm still gonna feed him and make sure he's brushed and all that good stuff, so. Take care of the fam before I go to work.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Shara, how does the morning find you?
I feel like she would have a really regimented routine starting first thing in the morning.
So, Lilic is playing an elvish half-dragon, right?
Yes, and from living in both the high elf and dragon worlds between her parents, I think that like first thing in the morning she would be up at 4, starting the routine of everything to make sure it's perfect before work, because I mean you can't go to work looking scraggly and unkept. People won't listen to you. So she has a mix of metallic copper and blonde hair, as is a mix of her parents. Gold eyes, and as her mother transformed, she had an elvish look, but her skin had these scales you could only see in like a shimmer light, and they kind of were like a pearlescent scale, so it blended in with her really white skin tone. And when they had a child, that actually transferred over, but her scales ended up shining like a golden color on her more coppery toned skin. So it's a little noticeable, but not too much. The hairstyle and headdress would be covering both her horns and her ears up, so none of it would really be showing. It would just be like a head scarf tying everything together, and hair all back. Kind of, professional tight bun. Not like the flowing locks there. That's after work.
Fantastic.
Hmm?
I said fantastic.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that she would like to do for the morning routine before she heads off to work?
No, I think it'll be just the same as every other day. It's got down from 4 a.m. to, whatever work is, like 6 or something, right?
Yep. Work is probably around 6 a.m. It is the military. They don't let you sleep. They don't care.
She would probably be a bit more powdered on her face, though, so not as sparkly.
Oh, okay.
So everything's kind of toned down.
Part of that made me sad. Me, just shine, you damn star. All right. Are you walking or taking the teleportation circle? Actually, I'll ask everyone. Besides, I guess Fady has to take teleportation circle if you want to get there on time. You live in the fucking mountains. Professor and Shara, are you taking teleportation circles or walking?
I will take a teleportation circle.
Shara.
Oh, I'll walk wherever it is.
Okay. That's fine. You have to walk to the actual front of the castle, and as you go through the streets, there's all sorts of people already starting their days. Merchants are setting up. The stalls are being set up in what is basically the bazaar in the market area, and you're able to just walk towards the castle. At the front of the castle is what essentially is the city. We call it the cop shop, but it is the citywide police station that is attached to the front of the castle. You literally have to go through the entire kingdom's police force before you can enter the castle. It's quite the security measure. As for the professor, I need a con save.
Yep, coming right.
At advantage. You've been
give me one
doing
second.
this for 4.5 years.
At advantage,
Yep.
okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know what the teleportation circles feel like. It just doesn't mean it's that much easier. At least you're prepared, though.
Yeah. 14.
You arrive like directly in front of the cop shop at the teleportation circle. And as you step forward, like you kind of put your hand on your stomach, and you're like, 4.5 years of this, and you're like, I swear I'm never gonna get used to that.
Yeah. 4.5 years. Still not used to that.
Mm-hmm.
At least I still got my tea, though.
Yeah, you didn't puke this time. Sometimes you have. Fady, circle away. So I need that con save at advantage again. In 2.5 years, and you're tougher than before.
Just a little. What is my...
I feel like your con just should naturally go up from living on a fucking mountain.
Nat 20, 23.
Noise.
Hopefully. If that's not good enough, I'm fucked.
Yeah, you go through the teleportation circle, and it's your main way of getting to the capital at this point. You probably especially when you have to go to work every day. You've been teleporting since you were a child.
Yeah.
This is normal for you. Shara, where you're from, teleportation circles don't feel like this. They're way better, so you just walk. In Drosha, like if Nocturnia is high magic, Drosha's superior magic. So it's one of those things where you're like, I don't even like those things.
I also think it'd be a good idea to, know the surroundings.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Probably arrive a little bit after the first two. So Professor, after you walk through, you're about to go through the front door, and the circle activates again, and Fady appears behind you. Now, you've been working with Fady for, what did I say? 6 months. You've been working with Fady for 6 months. She is your equal, and like you both run like your little unit together, essentially. You're getting ready to retire, quote unquote. Like they're putting you in a position where retiring is comfortable for you if you choose so. And Fady is still up and coming, having only been in for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But she just teleports in behind you, like a minute or so behind you. Not like you step off the pad and it immediately activates.
Well, I noticing that Fady's there and all that, with my to-go tea in hand, I raise it up almost like as a toast, but also slash a wave to Fady and go, Captain.
Captain, Professor?
That's always going to be funny.
It doesn't make sense to her at all.
6 months, and I'm still not used to that. Nonetheless.
I'm not used to someone having a title as a name and another title with no name. So, here we are.
You head into the cop shop. Inside, there's the main courtyard. The courtyard is pretty much filled with workout gear and training equipment, dummies and the like. And most of the other military folk, are... It kind of looks like a prison yard, now that I'm thinking about it.
It does.
But with better gear. You know what I mean? Like the equipment's better. It's like gym equipment. Not quite pulleys and stuff, but like it's the kind of stuff you'd see in a knight's training ground more so than basic fitness for a prisoner. However, when you say it out loud. Anyways, there are a multitude of other soldiers and some knights and such, all, working out, hanging out, waiting for assignment, just getting off, patrol, just, the general foyer kind of thing. And as you go through the doors, you both are fully aware that you have to report in for work, essentially, to get your like tasks from the chief. And as you approach, like where you're gonna like essentially the room where you and everyone that's on your really shift, like this. What's the word I'm looking for here? No, shift is the word I'm looking for. Who's in this shift of the day that you're going to be working with? This is where they're going to have to go before they start their day. It's like a roll call. Standing. Yeah, and the chief, who I will grab a picture of. Chief, he is a fox shifter. His name. It didn't let me add the name. Why didn't it? He is a red, basically a red fox anthro. Oh my god, anthro. Yeah, well, anthro will work because it works. He's an anthropomorphic fox, essentially. That's how you spell chef, not chief. There we go. Anyways, Chief Renning Kolak is so it'd be Chief Kolak. Is the man he's waiting outside the door as you see that the room is basically empty. Well, completely empty.
Good morning, Chief.
Captain.
Morning.
Captain. And he like does the head gesture of like get inside.
Yeah.
All right, Shara. You arrive at the front of the cop shop. You've been here, a multitude of times recently, but it's pretty imposing. Where you're from, yes, there is a very good military, but this country, everything they built was structured around military and fortitude ability. How fortifiable the location was and such, and it is a pretty impressive structure that leads into this castle.
I'll definitely study it to just kind of commit to memory what it looks like.
Okay. Why don't you roll me an investigation then?
16.
Okay. You're taking in a lot of the art, not the artwork, the architecture. The thing about it is that you do note this: the majority of the structures in Nocturnia seem to form natural angles and structures that are good at holding pressure and weight. So there's a lot of domes and triangles, and you know what I mean. Everything seems to be the best natural form of weight, and how you can make thick, heavy buildings with them collapsing on themselves and stuff. It's like I said, it's a city built to withstand sieges for years. And you head inside. And as you enter the courtyard, there are, again, as every other morning, all sorts of soldiers and essentially paladins, cops, law enforcement, city guards, all of them, working out, training, talking to each other, just in general. Just that's what the courtyard is. And as you move through, you come to the hall, and there is Chief Kolak, waiting kind of for you in front of near the door.
I will walk him and greet him appropriately. I'm not sure how that is right now, though.
We don't do salutes really in Nocturnia, so stand at attention and
Good morning, Captain.
yeah, basically. Well, not Captain, but yeah.
No, I know, but just morning.
Yeah, kind of.
Time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, yeah.
Okay, and once you're inside, You enter the room and you see a blue tattooed Furbolg and a blue. And I wanted to give you another descriptor, but I guess you have very large glasses on your face. You said, right? Like very gold rimmed. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're noticeable because if you look at the picture, they're like half his face. But yeah, a blue tiefling with large glasses and a not a heavily tattooed, decently tattooed Furbolg, who you both like. They both have the rank of captain, same as your rank. You have seen them around, but never like directly interacted with each other yet.
Okay, well,
Also, you both see the foreign officer and half dragon that you've heard about and seen walking around the halls enter the room with the chief following behind.
Professor's gonna walk up to her and say, I don't believe we've met. I believe I am the professor. From what I'm guessing is that you're the captain that's from a different country?
Russian. And it's Shara.
Shut Russia.
She'll hold out her hand, for the handshake. Posture's very just stiff.
Oh, you'll get a handshake, but he's more noodly armed than strong. So not a very strong grip that you would normally see from somebody like the professor.
She would adjust her grip to just above whatever it is that you were doing, so as to not, harm you, but know that I'm here.
The subtle power play. I love it.
I'm not going to hurt you, but you need to know I could. That's hilarious. Okay. The chief walks in. Take your seats. Gestures to there's a multitude of chairs. You don't have to sit in desks beside each other. And he waits for you to be seated before he walks in front of you all. This is clearly he has some sort of orders to give. Normally, this would only take 2 officers. But since we've been blessed with our friend here, gestures directly to Shara, Captain Emberglind here has been seen fit to join. And he hands out 3 dossiers, folders.
Immediately opening it up, and also my notebook.
Okay.
What's inside?
As you're all... Sorry?
What's inside?
Okay. When you open it up, there are sketches, but they're from an aerial view of the other side of the Black Forest, which is the new nation of Alton. And there are several reports about border patrols, timings, movement. Basically, it's intel. It's intel on the new nation. As you are aware, Alton, the new nation formed underneath the king, Balak, has refused any peace negotiations from any of the neighboring countries. We're unsure if he even has been getting our messages, and we're hesitant to use magic to send them. We don't know what kind of a response that could prompt. In 1 week's time, the three of you are going to try to sneak across the border and deliver a message to an informant inside of Alton. It's a simple handoff mission that requires stealth, and he gestures to all three of you. We do not want war again. We have finally had a moment to breathe. And Alton has been vocal about their distaste for peace.
May I ask, sir, what is this message that will change their mind?
Miles, in 1 week's time, the king is going to directly address the King of Alton. That's the message you're handing off.
So, forgive me, Chief, for speaking out of turn in this regard, but essentially we're sending a message to a new nation to almost strong-arm them into peace?
If we wanted to strong-arm anyone, magic would have been the first thing we could have done. Generations upon generations of war with all the neighboring countries has made us very strong. We believe in the king's words and that they will be enough to dissuade Alton. As it is, our trade routes through the Black Forest have almost completely been cut off by, and he does air quotations, bandits with no affiliation to Alton. All reports say that those goods are being, and he does the air quotes again, resold in Alton.
And in the dossiers, is there anything from Gano in there?
There is not anything from Gano.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say that the aerial view is an interesting rendition. It's almost spot on.
Chief,
Yes.
what does Gano have to say about this?
Same thing Gano always says. As long as his forest and animals aren't being harmed, it's none of his business. And he holds up both his hands and does like the ooh, like it's none of my business. You have 1 week to be prepared for your journey. Whatever you need, whatever you deem that you need for the travel, you can either try to commission or get privately done. He looks at everyone's like, I've never been one to use state equipment, with a small chuckle. And speaking of which, and he goes and he pulls out a large sack. And I mean, it's more like a duffel bag. It's like a legitimate army duffel bag. And he starts pulling out armor that has a ripple effect to it. When you look at it, he's pulling out scale mail. Each one of these should provide sufficient protection while keeping yourselves quiet, and looks directly at the professor, because he's aware that the professor's current armor is loud as fuck.
The professor's eyes kind of go wide and just, oh, yes. I'm not the most.
Don't worry, Captain, this will help. Smiles at you. And he's going to hand out everyone Serpent Scale Mail. It is an uncommon magical item. You will note that these scales are all matte black and make no jingly sound when you move with them. It's yeah. So you've been given essentially stealth armor. It is also to note that this armor has 0 fucking crests on them.
Oh.
Is this in the app?
I believe it's 14 plus dex, essentially. With
14
no
plus
disadvantage.
dex, no stealth disadvantage. Okay.
Medium armor. Also, yours doesn't shimmer. It's all matte black. I don't think I need to say this, but I'm going to say this. No one is to know you are leaving, what your mission is, or where you're going. Like gestures to the clearly matte black stealth armor.
Black Ops moment. Gotcha.
So if I may ask, if all this, what should we be prepared for if they were to find us?
To be honest with you, Captain, we have no idea what Alton would do. They have been repelling everyone trying to get into their newly established borders, but they rarely engage in violence. We don't know, but we need to know, is the thing. We need to know their intent. We need to know if they're willing to open up and have peace, a treaty, a ceasefire, anything. At this point, they've essentially just carved out a chunk of land and said it's theirs, and have pushed back anyone else. The king isn't opposed to Alton existing, even though they did take a chunk of ours and Everdawn's land. People need a place to be. We understand that better than anyone. But we are opposed to letting enemies set up camp right next to us.
I have 2 questions right now.
Yes?
1. What is the name and what is the name of our informant that we are passing this message on?
And your second question?
Is there a contingency plan for on the offhand chance that we are discovered and or caught?
Well, your informant will have a series of comments that they will say in parallel to a series of statements that you'll make. That's how you'll know it's them. They'll meet you at the spot in the dossier, as is the script you need to follow to confirm it's them. Their name will not be given to you. Secondly, if you are caught, we don't even know who you are. And there's like a smile. Like, the contingency plan is, we don't know, like, we'll disavow any information of you. They don't want to spark a war.
Understood, Chief.
I expect over the next week you get what you need, and separately, over several days perhaps, leave the city and then meet up somewhere. As far as anyone's to know, we'll have some of you ill. And perhaps Captain Emberglint here may have gone back home for a report for the week. Here's for each of you, and he hands you like a separate duffel bag for you each to put your gear into. Because you know, walking around in stealth gear, holding it kind of tells everyone who's what. Yeah, the duffel bags are each different. They're not military bags. Like, one's a military bag, one's like a backpack almost that you can, like, a sack you can put on. Like, they're varying carrying things. They're not even letting you look uniform at this point because they don't want people to think you're going to do the same thing. As for your unit, they'll be transferred over to the Second Lieutenant Jared for the remainder. From what I understand, you'll want to get home as quickly as possible. And there's like a smile on his face, and we're like, we all know who he is, what he's about. And he's going to give you one of the dismissed.
Sir.
Was that dismissed a bit rough?
No. My unit's being left with Jared.
Oh. And he's an officer in this one.
Just make, lists of things and laminate them so he can't burn them. He just posts them up all around. What he needs to be doing.
Sticky notes that are laminated everywhere. Okay. So what are your plans at the moment?
I would like to go talk to the high priest. But first I want to introduce myself to Shar, because I didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, Fate.
Go.
Do what?
I was gonna say we only have like this hall, right? How far do we have to walk out?
Yeah, like, can we walk to an opening and, like, actually introduce ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hallway that, like, you're in the officer's location anyways, and seeing two officers shaking hands when one's a foreign diplomat essentially is not unheard of, especially when you're the same rank.
Yeah. Yeah, Fady will, do, like, a offer for, like, a quick handshake and just, Hi, I'm Fady Yiva.
Yeah, she'll turn like right out of the room to straight into like a handshake. And she's just going to say, hi, Fady. I'm Shara.
Good to meet you. If the two of you need mounts, I could suggest Stable Master, if he's still a Stable Master demo.
Yes.
Okay. His name is Elias, and Ink. Don't think we should all get mounts from the same place, but they're nice.
You said we had 3 days to meet up?
Technically, he gave you a week because he expects you guys to, like, leave the city on different days and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have a couple of days to get your stuff done. So,
When we are walking out, is there, like, I guess, how can I put it? Sort of like in any typical cop shop, there's the weapons checkout kind of
yeah, no.
area.
Master?
Your quartermaster, yeah.
Yes, our quartermaster.
You had to walk past him to go through to go to where you went to get to your officer's location.
All right. I'm gonna walk up to the quartermaster desk.
Okay. When you head, so he's behind bars at like almost like a it's almost like well, it's a gun it's like the gun room, the gun cage concept.
Mhm.
There's a large human, blue-eyed, dirty blonde hair that's like curly, slightly chubby looking, very tall man smiling at you. He's probably eating a very large sandwich in like one hand and like trying to chew quickly because you've come to the door or come to the cage. And just hi, what can I get you, sir?
Well, would you like a cup of tea with that sandwich? Might help wash it down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be lovely.
Pull out my teapot and pour him a cup.
He will absolutely accept a cup of tea. By no means wouldn't he.
Other than that, I was wondering if I could procure 3 sending stones that can only connect with each other.
Shouldn't be too hard. Hold on, sir. And he will, like, straighten up because he's out of tension, obviously, and then he starts going around. And he will, after, I'd say 4 or 5 minutes, comes back. He's got, like, a little bit of a huff to him because he's been, like, moving shit and, like, trying to hurry. And he pulls out 3 sending stones. One is... I don't want to say damaged, but it's like it's scratched up. The sending stone has seen multiple users. Is there the only 3 that I have that are linked? If you could just fill out this requisition, sir, and he hands you like a piece of paperwork for you requisitioning the sending stones.
I will sign the articles.
Okay. Do you write the professor?
I write the professor.
Okay. He will give you your sending stones. Like I said, two are in pretty good condition. Look, almost, they don't look new. They've been used, but it's the idea of like, here's two walkie-talkies that belong to officers, and here's the one that belonged to the sergeant that was actually doing the work. Is there anything else I can get for you?
To my knowledge, I think that's everything at the moment. I may be back, depending.
You will nod and gives you a big smile.
Thank you. And your name was once again?
My name's Wickham, Sergeant Wickham, sir. And thank you for the tea.
You're welcome. Captain Professor. You can just call me Professor.
He looks down, like looking at your paperwork, seeing that you actually signed the professor.
Am I in earshot of this? Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, he was just doing this pretty much all right in front of you guys as he walked down the hall, like stopped at a window and started talking to the guy.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Fatey's laughing. With the Captain Professor, I'm sorry, I can't.
Just from down the hall, I told you!
Do I hear the I told you?
What's your passive perception?
11.
No.
Okay.
You're having a cool conversation with Wiggum at the moment.
Alright. As I finish my conversation with Wiggum and walk away, I pocket the more scratched and used sending stone, and I walk back up to the other two.
Okay.
Do I see that?
What's your passive perception?
I have no idea. I have to look.
Probably pretty high. I think you have like a 17 in fucking wisdom.
So it says passive is 16. I don't know if there's any bonus to that.
I mean, you saw him pocket one of the stones and start heading towards you.
Okay.
As he's approaching, I'm just gonna like gently nudge Shara, and say, I call him Two Titler. Two titles and giant.
She's gonna try not to smile, but like just the corners go up a bit before she puts her face back on. Like, I'm not doing that here.
Shara's got to represent Trosha.
Represent away. But he just said Captain Professor.
Dun, dun, dun,
Oh my
dun.
gosh, this is gonna be a whole like How I Met Your Mother episode.
I need a t-shirt now that says Captain Professor.
General panic. Anyways,
Absolutely.
Professor, what would you like to do?
Well, as I walk up to the other two, I present them the sending stones and let them know, we can... With these, we'll be able to have an easier way of contacting each other for rendezvous.
I'll take mine. I think I know of a good place where we can meet. I'll let you know on these.
Shara's gonna look at the pocket and kind of just bounce the sending stone in my hand. Where's yours?
It's right here, as I pull it out of my pocket.
And that's the damaged one, right?
Yes.
Like it still looks like it's functional. It just, like I said, it's the difference between the one the officer owned in the office and the one the surgeon had to answer on in the field.
So the second, like, any kind of damage was seen as he was pulling it out of the pocket. And I'm just gonna cast mending on it. And so what he pulls it at is gonna be
Okay.
perfect.
I will say this: the stone looks perfect. While mending can't fix magical items' effectiveness, like their ability to work,
No, but the look
it can fix their material body. So
Yeah.
since it still was working, the material body looks brand new.
Yeah.
Professor, you pull it out, and there's just a new sending stone in your hand, essentially.
I'm just gonna smirk and say, neat.
I mean, you did cast mending. I would have probably seen that right in front
Yeah,
of
I
me.
mean, you saw her doing it, but
You beat me to the punch.
We can't start off with broken equipment now, can we?
That is true.
That goes for all members,
Um,
not just myself.
and with that, you now have 3 sending stones that can only communicate with each other. What is
Nice.
what do you plan to do? You're still standing in like the cop shop, more or less in like one of the halls. So
Here's a question.
yeah,
Is Justa at home frequently, or does he like leave?
he disappears for weeks at a time.
Okay. I didn't ask this at the beginning of the morning, but is he home?
Let's flip a coin, because that seems about average. I'll roll that D2. Heads is 1. Okay, there we go. You know what? I actually need to say which was what. I was gonna say heads is he's not home, so I can do it again. Oh, that's what we'll do. To be fair, heads means he's not home. Heads is a 1. Let me try that again.
Okay.
He's not home. The universe said no. Seriously, he's not home. So when you left, he hadn't been home for like 2 days.
Okay. Now, with the teleportation circles, do they just need to know where they're going, or do they have to have been there before?
They have to have they know where they're going. It helps if they've seen it or been there before a lot. The way, I mean, realistically, because we use them kind of like public transportation to a degree around the city. Within the Kingdom of Nocturnia and up onto the one mountain thing, I will say that you can just teleport there with the circles. I'm not gonna let like around world teleportation, but like the idea is that if there's an established permanent circle there, it's way easier to get to.
Okay. So there's only one teleportation circle on the mountain, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. You know what? Because we can't really let anyone know what we're doing. Fadie's just gonna hold up her stone and like look at the two of them and put hers in her pocket, but use the sending stone.
Right. Yeah.
Do what you need to here, but use the circle to go to the Underg Mountain. Okay?
Professor nods.
Nodding as well.
Okay. Fadie will just be like, it was good to meet you. Goodbye, Captain Professor, and leave.
Okay. Professor?
The professor's actually gonna go back to his lab, effectively. And
you can totally go to your actual workplace.
Yeah. And he's gonna look at Char and goes, well, there's things that need to be done, and I shall go make some preparations and arrangements. Good day to you.
She
Okay.
nods and slings her bag over and just starts walking home.
Okay. So, Professor, what do you plan to do in your lab?
I want to make 2 replicable items. For
Which
this.
items?
A wand of magic detection and a wand of secrets.
Are you using your infusions for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I have to deactivate my other 2.
Yep, that's fine. I just need to know. That's really good, actually. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're doing that, Fady, what are you up to? Are you heading straight home, or?
No. Fady's going to she's going to I guess go to a store and see if she can get a potion or 2 of invisibility.
Oh,
And also pray to the king.
okay. Are you praying anywhere in particular, or are you just
No, she's
praying
gonna
while you walk
she's
in?
gonna go to the temple. Like she wants to
Oh,
make sure
okay.
this is
She wants.
done right. Um
Okay,
no-
okay. Which one would you like to do first?
I mean, it's early enough in the morning, so she'll probably go to the temple first. Like avoid, I guess like the
The crowd, if you will.
avoid the crowd kind of a thing.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, you head through the city. You've been to the cathedral many
not a lot.
times. No, many times, but not like a every Sunday type thing. But like over the years, there's been
Yeah.
a multitude of times you've gone, and it is one of the largest buildings in the city. So as such, it is. I mean, it's not like you have a hard time finding it. Essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. It's not a place you've been to once, but maybe twice a year you end up there.
Yeah.
But you know how to track stuff and keep track of with like way fewer landmarks. So because buildings
Mhm.
don't change the way moving snow dunes do.
Yep.
So you find the temple. You head inside. The doors are, of course, wide open. There are a couple of. I mean, the only way to put this is tourists, like people who are traveling through Nocturnia and are like trying to see places that get crowded later.
Mhm.
There's a couple of clergy, like clerics, kind of walking around. You do not see the high priestess, but you also know that like her first sermon isn't for a couple of hours, so she might be doing who knows what.
Yeah. Like
She's not
prepping or something.
military technically, right? So,
Right.
but there are still like clerics and stewards kind of slowly moving through the cathedral if people need something or want someone to talk to or have questions, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so she'll I mean she doesn't pray out loud anyway,
Right.
but she still goes to like more of a secluded area, like I guess the stereotypical like in movies, like the loner in the singular pew kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah. It's worth noting there are no images of the king himself inside of the cathedral, the temple. There are just black suns as images, like his symbol, essentially. Not the symbol of Nocturnia, but I guess it's like an 8-starred
Yeah.
black sun. Yeah, an 8-pointed black sun. There's just his symbol.
Yeah.
Which you can see from there's a lot of them, like because they're kind of all of the imagery relates around that in some way or the form. So you're able to find a secluded area to say your prayer. Do you have a specific prayer you'd like, or would you just like to roll religion?
Um, you know, she's got a specific request.
Okay.
Um, it's just I don't want to mess this up, so Please tell me exactly what we say word for word. just like add on, you know I'm bad with people.
I mean, okay. You can roll religion first.
Yeah.
In the dossier, there is like a word for word what you're supposed to say to the person to confirm that you're supposed to hand off like the item to them with your king's words inside.
Yeah, but she doesn't trust. Well, I mean, it's not that she doesn't trust it. It's the like. She feels more confident if it comes directly from him, because what if somebody wrote it down wrong? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I understand, but
Because she filled out 16.
Okay.
She filled out Justa's reports. She knows sometimes things can get written down wrong.
You feel a warmness around you and a familiar comfort of like almost like a dark cave that's warm that you know you'll be safe in.
Mm-hmm.
But no direct words come to you. It is to be noted that over the last 10 years of peace, the king hasn't been as active in mortal lives as he used to be.
Okay.
He still protects, and he still does things for like, being around people and entertaining and morale and all that kind of celebrating, all the same things the king did before. But it's he has been taking a slightly more hands-off approach to mortals, as have all of the deity kings. Pelor does not lead like armies directly anymore. Bahamut isn't there, leading sermons anymore. They have been meddling in mortal affairs less and less over the last 10 years.
Okay.
But you do get a warm, comforting feeling, and there's a slight you just feel like you're gonna know the right words. Like even if you gotta talk to them like an animal, you always do find the right words.
Okay.
Picture them like an animal.
Yeah, she'll just thank you, and go for the invisibility potions if maybe I can afford them. I don't know if I can, but I'll try.
Okay, we'll pause there for a sec. Shara, what? You said you were heading home. Anything on the way you'd like to do, or are you heading straight to your accommodations?
Probably pick up things for food to prepare. Just like,
What kind of food does Shara like? Are we talking rations or like food?
No, I'm talking like ingredients to make like the specific foods. Like she would kind of track how much work she would need to do and try to prepare enough like protein and vegetables and stuff for that specific type.
Okay. She's a calorie watcher. I got you.
Not calorie, just energy efficient.
Okay. Sorry.
Like she's not watching her weight. She's making sure she has enough nutrients that her body can perform properly.
I totally understand. Okay.
I like it. Okay.
Okay, no, that's fine. So you're able to. You end up walking back through like the way you came, and of course the bazaar and the market had started. There are a slew of different stalls. That's the word I'm looking for. There's a slew of different stalls, and all sorts of ingredients. Are you looking to get enough for what looks like probably a week's worth of travel?
Yes, and like a specific separate one for like tonight.
Okay. That is gonna run you 7 day, 8 days. 8 days and 1 meal. It's gonna be. I'm gonna say it's gonna probably be like 20 silver for one person for 8 days. You're able to, you haggle with a few people, you talk down a couple of prices, and when you're all set, you end up with about 20 silver worth of expenses.
Okay, perfect.
The
I'll
Droshan
just,
way.
get my markety stuff and head on home to start preparing.
All right. Okay. Let's have you roll survival. To see how good you are at preparing a backpack.
Well, I only got a 12, so maybe I pack a little too
You
less? I don't know.
You just ate a little bit of your stuff while you were like snacking. Like you're packing your bag and you're eating a couple
Just
pieces and you're
mindlessly
packing your
eating and
bag.
snacking while on
Yeah, and then
things
you
and
look
stuff.
over and you're like, all right, that's 6 days done. You look over and 7 and 8 were both done. You're like, can you just reproportion everything? Guess I'm having only 4 carrot sticks at lunch. God damn it.
Hey, no, there's
Just one of those
proteins
things.
and everything. Come on.
I know, I
Ain't
I
eating no
understand that.
carrot and celery stick.
I didn't say it was just carrots and celery sticks. I just thought the idea of
Die.
splitting up
You
carrot
die
sticks
off
was
that.
easier.
That is not nutrition.
I know I would die off that. A carnivorous elf. Alright, we'll fade back over to Fadee.
Health conscious.
Health conscious dragon. Alright, and you wanted to find magical potions, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Magical potions. I think the best place for magical potions would be Raziel's shop.
Okay.
He has probably the most magical stuff, like thinking about it.
Okay.
You've probably been there a couple of times because Justa will have gone there or sent you to pick up stuff.
Yeah.
Back, you know what I mean? Like, he's a purveyor of magical items. He's one of those people that, like, the higher ups kind of would be connected with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to admit that I cannot remember the name of his shop.
Oh dear.
Ancient texts.
Yeah,
Where
I'm
are the sacred
scrolling.
texts?
See, I know his name is Raziel the High Moon. That was his name, his title, but I can't remember the shop's name.
I think it was called the High Moon.
You know what? It might have been called the High Moon.
I think he named it after himself. I could be wrong, but
Or maybe I just said Raziel and then put the name of the business.
maybe. Where are my sacred texts? Oh my god. That's Kaylin. It's not needed right now.
Well, we'll just call it the High Moon. That'll be
Okay.
easier. So you know that the High Moon, run by Raziel, the half celestial, half infernal,
Mm-hmm.
is basically the place to go to get magical items in general.
Right.
It's always a bit entertaining because he himself is a little extreme.
Yeah.
But that is where you would go.
I will go there then.
You get to the High Moon and open the door, and behind his very long counter, looking almost like it kind of looks like when you ever go to like an auto parts store, and then they have like the one real long counter, and then just shelves of boxes behind them.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it looks like, but the shelves just seem to go on forever.
Yeah. She'll go in and go to the counter.
If it isn't the young wolf. Big Head slowly turns to you, like he was talking before he was even looking at you.
Yeah.
What can I do for you on such a fine day?
Hi, Raz. I... Hmm. I need to make people invisible like me.
How many people?
Just a couple. Not for too long, but, for a minute or two.
So are you looking for potions then?
Probably.
Okay then.
I'm
And he
pinching my pennies.
looks back and into the warehouse and you see all these giant arms that are identical to his arms, like reaching through boxes and shuffling through things. He's gonna pull out them and he holds out 2 potions. These will run you 50 gold.
Shit.
Would you want me to put these on layaway? Basically saying, like, do you want me to put these away until you have the money?
Yes. Please.
Okay, then. He opens his eyes and drops them both into the eye sockets, and they just vanish.
Thank you. I should be back in a couple of days.
Perfect.
Okay. Bye, Raz.
All of the hands wave.
I will send them a thing while I go to the stables.
Send who a thing? Both?
Professor and Shara. Yeah, both of them.
Okay.
And it's the high moon.
High moon, yeah.
High moon. Okay. Raz at the high moon has invisibility potions that you can use. But it's 25 each, basically. Just letting you know. And I'm going to see if I can get you a discount on mounts.
All right, Fady. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome, Captain Professor. I have a feeling when you're too painfully formal with her like that, it's just Captain Professor. Fady hates formal. Yeah, I'm gonna run to the or take a teleportation circle or whatever to the stables before I go home.
Okay.
I'm gonna hurt myself with this.
Yeah, you are.
Fucking hell. Alright.
Okay.
I
Your
popped
call.
my back, I'm ready for this. It's fine. He's alive, so I should be happy about this.
He lives.
I'm not even gonna lie. I don't think I'm okay with accents at the moment either, because I'm bleh.
Okay, that's fine.
So maybe it'll hurt less.
He's alive, and you said he's my friend, so, like, things are okay. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll go to the stables, just, Light ink!
You see, like, a tendril of ink, like, stretch out from behind some stables and give, like, a wave. Inside said stable, Elias is tending to a horse.
Okay.
Probably reshoeing them, I think. Seems like a guy who could shoe a horse.
Fair. Hi!
And he looks up and, like, will put the horse's foot down, because you're not supposed to look away when you're shoeing a horse.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
And we'll get out of the stall and just you know, like, scratching his head a little bit, like fixing his hair. Hey, Fady, what brings you by?
Like, she normally info dumps with him, and no one's supposed to know, so she can't info dump. So it's like she starts and then she stops.
Gotcha.
Well, for shit.
They're both just staring at you, like a little more wide-eyed. Like, what is this?
It's for work. I can't tell you why or where, but how much would 2 mounts be? For a week? Ish?
You can't tell me where or why.
For work. So no. They said no.
I'm not overly comfortable with my animals going somewhere without a no, but if it's for work, I can't exactly deny you either. What mounts did you need, Fady?
Preferably 2 different kinds, and if you have something that doesn't say Nocturne.
Looks over like his nightmare, his dire wolf. Like his stall is full of monsters.
Yeah, she's just like, I would ask Grandpa for a Pegasi, but I don't think there's time.
Size. What is? Well, I mean, he has his horses, but you want 2 different mounts, and he can't scream Nocturnier. That's the hard part. Man, I haven't looked at the stable sheet in forever. Ugh.
I mean, yeah.
Now we're going back. I had a list of exactly what animals were inside of the stable during the fire.
I have a list somewhere, but it's in my Nocturnia notebook, and it is missing.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna add probably a few because things changed, but
Yeah.
He's gonna show you. Well, one, he has the horse he was shoeing, which is like just a standard horse. To be honest with you, it's not like a war horse or anything. It's it's just a normal riding horse. I'm trying to think of words. I'm like, it's not a war horse. It's oh yeah, no, it's just like a normal riding horse.
Okay.
And then the other one, which should we go? You know what? He has an elk.
Okay.
Are the 2 most non-Nocturnian looking things he's gonna have.
That'll work.
For a week, it's gonna run you 50 silver each.
That comes out to...
It comes out to a gold, but it also is going to cost you another gold worth of for tack and feed and all that kind of stuff. So altogether, it's 2 gold.
2 gold. Okay.
Yeah, it's a gold a week for each, basically.
Okay. So you said 2 gold each.
Yeah, he's giving you like a 50% off deal. So
yeah, so 4 gold total. 4 total.
No, 2 gold total. It would have been 4.
Total. Gotcha.
But he cut it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yep.
Mark that off. Yeah, I'll pay him. You know what? Speaking of Pegasi, you still don't have one, right?
It is impossible to get a Pegasi anywhere near, and he like gestures towards his nightmares.
I could maybe. Tried to get one for you? Maybe?
Would build an entire new stable if I could get a Pegasi.
Okay. I will see about getting you a Pegasi. And, weird question.
Yeah.
Can you get these up the mountain?
There's the most exasperated sigh.
I'm sorry.
Just like rubs between his eyebrows. Yeah. Nope, that's fine.
Thank you.
At Juice's place?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's gonna do like an awkward, okay, thank you, again, bye, and run away.
Cool. He's gonna go back to shoeing the horse, completely like. He has that air of like, fuck my life, because he has no idea where his mounts are going.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if his mounts are going to come home. He's considering charging you a lot more. Of course, if his mounts don't come home, he will just directly bill the capital.
Yeah.
Because it's for work now. All right.
Yeah, no, she's going home so she can
Get ready?
Eustace's place ready for guests.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Shara, you're home. You've done your survival checks. You've packed your stuff. You ate one too many snack bags. Had to redistribute your food. Is there anything that you would like to do over the next several days, or would like to try to find for your trip? Like, how would Shara prep for what's about to happen? What would she think that she needs? What things would she want? You know, you've got longer than most people get before they get sent on a mission. You got a couple days to actually get your affairs in order, feed your, water your plants, so on and so forth.
I wasn't really joking about the list. One of the things that I would have like laminated and posted and like duct taped up would be like the list of allergies for everyone there. Because I'm not going to just assume he'll know. So that will be like more like a poster board, kind of severely duct taped, like overly duct taped to the wall. He couldn't peel it off if he tried.
Are you talking about the list for Jared?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yes.
And like bold letters and like colored. Like it's gonna look like a kindergarten room type thing. Or like everything that needs to be done and should be done properly is going to be posted in like large lettering and colored and like indestructible, so he has no choice but to see it.
Oh my god, I love it.
We'll state that when Jared arrives to work on the day that you're supposed to leave, he finds not only the room, just his whole office done up with schedules and allergies and timings and big like crown almost letters that say like, remember to wash your hands, and just all sorts of shit like that. The entire schedule for the day, like every day, is on his desk. It is the whole top of the desk, and it is like lacquered down. So he's like using a knife to try to chip at it, and it's just like it almost looks like wax is peeling up because the way lacquer works when you scrape. So he's just got this giant. Fuck. Okay.
Oh my god, this is great.
Not having looked mine messed up.
I think what's at the bottom of his chair, where like it would scrape if you didn't pick up your chair when you backed up. There's like big felt like circles glued to the bottom so that he can't scratch your floor, and all the like there's a child-proof sharpener for his pencil. Fucking one of those staplers that can't open all the way, so the kids can't get their hand in them.
Oh my god.
Stalls.
Corners is big for babies.
Yeah. The corners, the rubber things you put on corners for babies are all on his desk.
Did you do the foam puzzle flooring? Oh my god.
Just as like a walkway in. Like a rainbow walk.
No, there were foam rainbow feet so that when you follow the footprints to where you're supposed to go.
Yes.
And like kids,
Yeah.
it's that. Okay.
Oh god, this is
anything else?
the serotonin I needed.
Anything else that Shara would like to do with her time Other than making Jared's first appointment of command just infidel. Infantilized the poor guy.
I mean, it's important.
I don't know pastel colors for that important, but
It is said certain colors are more linked to memory and attention. So I think, yes, it was necessary. Just to make sure he can be like, oh, there's just so many posters on the board. I couldn't see anything. No. It's highlighted.
I love the idea that Samuel will have to walk into this office at some point during your week away.
Oh my god, I'm crying.
Professor, do you have something you'd like to do over the next 3 days?
Yes. On one of the days that is happening, the professor's gonna actually go up to Jared's office. All that. Just knock on the door.
He's okay. You need to understand that currently, you guys are not at work, so you're knocking on your own office.
I know.
He's okay, cool. You get like he sounds so grumpy. There's like a come in, like this guy. Yeah, he's not happy.
I open the door and oh my.
He's deadpan staring at you, and he's like, "Sir," because you outrank him, and he still has to behave. But like he fully believes that you were part of this. This is your office as well.
I see you've taken to redecorating. Interesting. I only wanted to quickly stop by to provide you one other thing. Should anybody fall out of line, it's everything's just in this file here, and I hand him a manila file with a written document on disciplinary actions and how to handle them.
He's gonna take the file, and you see him turn and like sticks it to the wall on top, like by all the other stuff.
Oh, please be sure to give that a very good read. And
He will nod.
And maybe judging by your outlook, maybe you should practice that. At least once while I'm gone. Anyways, bye!
Okay. Charlotte, did you have anything else that you wanted to do? Okay. I caught her when she was biting a cookie, my bad.
I didn't think you so soon.
Yeah, I didn't know how long Sam was going to take with his part, so.
Oh, sorry.
No, she's like, I didn't think it would be so soon, because you were like, and then you just stopped.
Okay. So, what I wanted to do is I just checked my gear. I have like chainmail and the weapons and stuff. I would like to essentially just get things to take care of them. Like get the best oils and everything that I need to pack that away.
Gotcha. So if you're looking for gear materials, especially blade oils and oils for like the serpent scales and all that stuff, you got two options. Really, you can go to an adventuring gear type store, like a place where you're going to get like the backpacks and just everything for adventuring. It's almost like a high-end. It's almost like a rugged camping store, if you want to think about it that way. Or you can go to a blacksmith. or like an armorer, someone who actually builds this stuff?
Definitely the ones that build it.
Okay. Okay, so you've been in Nocturnia a little while at this point. You wouldn't be going to the best blacksmiths yet. They're just entirely too expensive. So, you'll get there. Probably one of the down in one of the newer shops. There's a couple of dwarves, and I'm talking like not Duergar, not dark dwarves, like just dwarves who have chosen to set up shop in Nocturnia. But because they're new and they used to kind of be the enemy, they've got like low prices for good quality. Essentially, like they're trying to build their rep with people. So that's your best bet. You also know that they have a lot of languages they speak. So they speak
No one to take it.
they speak Sylvan, they speak Draconic, they speak Dwarvish, they speak Gnomish, they speak Deep Speech. If you want to see which languages you need to click your info button at the very bottom. What do you currently have?
Ooh, okay.
Why would you have 3? Do you not have Draconic on there?
No.
Oh yeah, you definitely have Draconic. I don't know why Draconic's not on there. And it doesn't say Common either. That's weird. Anyways, they speak Sylvan and Draconic. I'll change your sheet right now to have that on there. That should have been on there.
Nice.
They're probably speaking Dwarvish when they walk in because they're just speaking to each other.
Okay, well, I guess when I walk in, I'm going to greet them in Sylvan, Draconic, and Common. And just let them pick.
Okay, so they will go to Draconic. I think that's probably the closest to what they'd like. Asking you you get a good morrow, lass. What can we do for you?
I'm going to take out my gear, like my regular gear, and not the special gear. Just say I'm going to be away for a week. I need this to last longer than that.
One of there's 2 dwarves that are there at the moment. You can tell that there's probably more that work here. But there's 2, like one behind the forge and one kind of handling people in the shop. And he's gonna come up and he'll like kind of like, you know when you get permission to touch someone's stuff but you're not seeing anything, like you kind of point at it like, can I, gives your permission to go through, like to open the bag and stuff. And he's gonna look at like fastenings and blades that you're carrying and just your gear, your general, like if the tent you have is been oiled to be able to be water resistant, and just overall just checking all your stuff. And then he starts going like behind the counter and taking stuff, and he like walks off into the back of the forge and grabs like he grabs some oil and like puts it in a smaller jar, and just basically traveling around the shop getting what he thinks you're gonna need to maintain your gear for longer than a week if you're out traveling, like traveling, like not. I mean, if you're smart enough to come in here and ask for gear to maintain your stuff, clearly like at least you're not some rich kid who thinks it'll just last forever. Yeah, when he's all said and done, he puts together, it's like a little crate, it's like one of those, like the hand, almost looks like one of the hand baskets from shopping, without like the handle, but like about that size. That thing right there. And it's full of like things like oils and so on and so forth, and he'll tell you that it'll run you 4 gold for everything there.
Well, that's perfect. Thank you, friend. I had one more question. On my travels, there is this specific armor that I have my eye on, and I'd like to get the materials to take care of it before I leave as well. What do you know of the care of her, Gale Mail?
He gives like a oh, and he walks over and he gestures towards several scale mail outfits that are like hung on dummies essentially. As well, it's like we have a fine selection if you want to just purchase it here, but if what you're looking for is something specific that you already ordered, then and he goes and he gets basically a different type of oil. It's clearly a different oil. This is more akin to almost like a leather oil than a metal oil. And he comes back saying, and he has 2 jars. One's metal oil, one's leather oil. And he's like, I don't know what kind you'll be getting because it could be scale mail made from anything as far up as dragons, which is hide technically. It could be alligator, I don't know. But this is for that. And then it could be something like what you could just purchase here. Once again, kind of like giving you like, hey, we got scale right there. Right there. This variety would be good. So what you actually have appears to be hide. You don't know what kind because it's a matte black scaling, but it does not appear to be metal because it doesn't clink at all when you move. That's kind of the point of it. It's made of serpent scales.
Okay, I'm gonna take the hide bottle and add it to my cart and say that looks perfect, thank you.
He's going to tell you it'll cost you an extra 10 silver for that oil, basically. So it'll be 4 gold and 10 silver. Because because it's enough for like a chess piece, not like just a little knife or something.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna hand him 450.
Oh, so like 4 gold and 5 or 50 silver. So he gets like a 40 silver tip. That's cool. Okay, he'll give you one of those like thank you very much last type, like puts it in a what's actually it's like a super large tankard flipped upside down with a hole in the bottom. That's their tip jar. And he hands you the crate and you have your supplies. It'll make packing a little harder for sure. You're gonna have to figure out how to fit it all in the pack.
If I look around, do they have a bag that is made specifically to hold like bottles and stuff?
I wouldn't say that the armor smith would, like the blacksmith people would. You would be looking for either a leather worker, like a tailor maybe. They would probably make your bags and satchels a lot more than like a blacksmith or an iron worker.
What about like a potionist?
Like an alchemist or something like that? Yeah, they would probably have some too. There's
Because I could just walk in with like the little case and be like,
there is an alchemy shop. There's an alchemy shop called the Black Bee. If you'd like to go there, it's run by a Thri-kreen and a vampire. So a giant bumblebee or a giant bee and a vampire run a potion shop.
that seems appropriate.
Okay, are you heading there?
Yes.
Okay. You come to it. The front looks like a big greenhouse. Really, you can't see past all the plants from the outside, and you have to open the door to head in. You hit wooden floorboards that are kind of creaky. It feels more like they were almost nailed to the dirt and like they just cut open spots where they need to put plants. Um, there is a very pale woman behind the counter who, upon seeing you enter, there's like a little jingle because they have like the bell at the door. She's behind a little wooden counter, and she gives a bright smile and waves. Hello, is there anything I can help you with? Welcome to the Black Bee. And there are this place looks almost like a distillery on the when you look past the counter. There are all sorts of things bubbling, and there are potion bottles all over the place. This is not a like magical potion shop as much as it is a herbalism style potion shop. You can get generic healing potions and stuff here, but most of the stuff here is antidotes and poisons and everything in between, like that. Things that you could make with science, essentially. It's basically an alchemy shop. There are prices, and things vary from upwards of like 5 gold to thousands for one or two of the potions. Like there's a couple that are like back on a high shelf that are like 1,000 gold, and you're like, oh shit. It's not a potion of invisibility, which is worth like 2,500 gold or more, but like this is science, it's not magic. Not that they might have magical potions, you don't know. But yeah, pretty large variety. You're in the Costco of potions. What are you looking for?
It's the satchel to have the bottles not break and be taken care of.
Yeah, she can give you a herbalism kit. No problem. Let me look up the price for one of those. Herbalism kit. There's a herbalism kit you can get for 5 gold. It comes with clippers, mortar, pedestal, pouches, extra vials. You can create, if you have proficiency in a herbalism kit, you can create antitoxins and potions of healing. But yeah, it's used for collecting herbs and stuff. But it has all the places, like the satchel and everything you need for bottles not to break. And it comes with some extra stuff for like actually using herbs and making potions and shit, essentially. Does that sound good? Okay. So you're purchasing that, and then anything else, or heading back? Yes, take 5 off. Okay. And with Shara heading back home, do either the professor or Fady have anything left that they would like to do for prep time?
After Professor leaves his office with Jared,
Yep.
he's gonna stop off at like an adventuring store.
Okay.
And he would like to buy a bag of ball bearings.
Okay. That's going to run you a gold.
Yep.
Alrighty. Anything else?
Nope. And then he'll go right on back home.
Fady?
Not really. I probably would have. No, I'd ask Grandpa that in person. No, not really. Probably just making sure the house is tidy and preparations are taken care of for, like, you know,
The visit.
The visit, essentially. Probably like, packing. I'm assuming Justa has like extra bags and stuff.
Yeah, you guys live in the fucking woods, or like not even in the woods, in the top of a fucking mountain.
Yeah, so I feel like Fadie's like packing like jerky and stuff that
Yeah.
her and Justa have.
All I can think of when you say jerky, though, is that the Raya, the Last Dragon, or whatever, where
still
they all
haven't seen
hate
that.
the mango jerky. Jerky she made herself. She can't even chew it. Oh, it's really good. Okay. Okay. And then I guess in that case, we will wrap up tonight a couple minutes early with everyone returning home after being given their mission and grabbing what they need over the next few days. We'll start off next week with our visit as you guys go on your secret message delivering envoys from the king with a message of peace.
To stay up to date with information regarding the podcast, Q&A with the GMs and players, and to connect with other listeners, find us on our Discord, Twitter, and Instagram at Wanderers of the Triverse. Captioning of episodes available on YouTube and WordPress.com.